question I got is, where's all the money going to the North Carolina Educational Lottery? That was supposed to be to education.
What money does
Did
not?
that get put in general fund? I mean, I've heard
No.
rumors and I just
My
like to know where it
understanding,
goes.
and Senator Barefoot can answer this, but my understanding is that the money that does not go for administrative functions of the lottery goes to education.
Every dime,
That is my understanding. All dimes go to education.
and it's still not.
You know any differently?
Before the Republicans took control, the Democrats were using the funds for different things, like Medicaid cost overruns. But right now, all the money is going towards education. It's broken down into different parts. Some of it goes towards need-based scholarships at our college and community college level. I think the most interesting point about the lottery, though, is that it was sold to us like it was going to be the savior of education.
Right.
But it only represents, I mean, all of the lottery money together only represents 4% of the education budget.
And when it was sold as well, it was also sold as a supplemental fund to education. What happened was other tax dollars were diverted away from education.
That's what I
And then it became a replacement fund for those tax dollars. So it became another way to move money around. And so it was supposed to be supplemental. It had that, the other dollars stayed in education, then it would have been supplemental. But yeah, again, education is not all about money. It's there's a lot of, people will always say we need more money, need to fund education. The funding for education in North Carolina, K-12 education, is the highest it's ever been in the state of North Carolina. This last budget, more money went into K-12 education in North Carolina than has ever been spent on K-12 education in this last budget. A lot of our critics will say you've devastated education. Education's been cut. How we're going to go back to the dark ages in education. I don't see how the most money you've ever spent on education in this budget is a cut. I don't see how $340 million increase, $340 million increase in K-12 education is a cut. I just don't, the numbers don't work out. Now, where there is less money is there's more students in the system. So 17,000 additional students came into the system, so per student, less money per student. That's not a cut. There is still more money that's ever been spent. It's not as much as some people would like. The analogy I like to use, or the story I like to use, is we have a superintendent in North Carolina. His name's Mark Edwards. You may have heard of Mark Edwards. He's the North Carolina Superintendent of the Year. He's also the National Superintendent of the Year. He's a superintendent for the Mooresville graded school district down outside of Charlotte. And when he took over as superintendent, their test scores were abysmal. Their graduation rate was abysmal. He had some vast majority of his students were on free and reduced lunch. There are 115 school districts in North Carolina, or LEAs they call them, 115 of them. He's number 114 in funding. Number 114 in funding. They have implemented a technology system in their school that every child in that school, every student, has a MacBook. They have a MacBook computer. They take them home with them every single night. They bring them home. The teachers teach individually. They design individual curriculum to all of their students in the classroom because of the technology that they have in these students' hands. And he has, every state in the country has come to visit him. He's had, I think it's somewhere around 800 and something visits to his school from all over the country to see what they're doing. Singapore, which is rated one of the best education systems in the country, is coming to Mooresville to meet with Dr. Edwards to find out what they're doing and how they can duplicate it in Singapore. The Superintendent of the Year nationally, President Obama's been there, Arne Duncan's been there twice, and they're number 114 out of 115 on per student spending in the state. It's not all about money. And in fact, this costs, the system that they have set up costs, boy, I'm going to get this wrong now. It's dollars. It's like $1.25 a day per student is what it costs for them to have. They did get a grant. They got like a $250 million grant from somebody up front. That obviously did help them out. But now the system costs them like $1.25 a day to run it. I mean, this was like innovative and transformational, and this is really changing, the face of education in America. And this is where we are right now. And I just, when I look at education, I think, I've been on a computer. I've been working on a computer for about 30 years now in some form or another. And many of you have too. And there are school districts all over our state that don't have computer infrastructure set up. They don't have broadband access. You know, they don't have the ability to do a lot of the things. So it's kind of shameful that they don't, that we are where we are today. And so we have to do some real serious transformation really quickly to get these schools up to speed. And it doesn't all take a lot of money. What's a big piece of it is how do we prioritize our money within our school districts? And it takes a creative and an innovative superintendent like Dr. Edwards to do that. So he's a model. So if you're not familiar with that, look up the Mooresville Graded School District in North Carolina. Dr. Mark Edwards, he's written a book that is really